Hey gamers, how are you today? If you saw any of my previous videos, you know that I love the Resident Evil franchise. Resident Evil is probably my favorite franchise after Zelda. So in this video I'm going to talk why I didn't like Resident Evil 4. But before you start, if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button, so you can win 10 years of good luck.
Vayan por detrás. Who are these people? Bloqueale el paso! What are they planning? Chainsaw.
So, why I didn't like Resident Evil 4? Resident Evil 4 was, and still is for many, one of the best games ever made. So why I don't like the game? Do I consider Resident Evil 4 a bad game? No, I don't. Resident Evil 4 isn't a bad game. I think it's one of the best games ever made. But in my opinion, it's a bad Resident Evil game. Because Resident Evil is a survival horror, not a third-person shooter. I remember when I first saw and played this game, I didn't like it. It wasn't a classic Resident Evil game. It was not a survival horror. This was just a third-person shooter game with Resident Evil characters. The game don't have any puzzles to resolve, not a single zombie that was Resident Evil trademark, not a single tyrant, no terror. For example, a dog or a tyrant jumping from a window and standing right in front of us with terrifying music, and we almost crack our pants. Once again, I'm not saying the game is bad, on the contrary. The game is excellent and I give it a lot of credit. But I love the old Resident Evils. And when I played it for the first time, I was so disappointed. I also didn't like the controls, because the game is a third-person shooter, with the controls of the previous games. Those controls work fine in the survival horror, but not in the third-person shooter. Leon can't walk while shooting. It's almost like playing Doom, but not being able to walk and shoot at the same time. By the way, Doom rocks. I know that Capcom have to modernize the franchise, but both Revelations are excellent examples that Resident Evil can be a third-person shooter with many survival horror elements and some puzzles. Both Revelations, in my opinion, are great spin-offs from the main series. Because like I said, they add some survival horror moments from the old Resident Evil games and the modern controls from the new Resident Evil games, like Hulk said in the endgame.
Best of both worlds.
The most recent Resident Evil 2 proves even more how modern survival horror should be. Resident Evil 4, for me, was just walk, shoot and update weapons. And let's be honest, listen to Ashley during all the game was worse than facing 2 or 3 nemesis. Every time I think of Resident Evil 4, what it comes to my mind is this.
Leon! 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 Don't just stand there! Help me! Help me, Leon! Hey, what are you looking at? Help! Help me, Leon! Help! Leon! 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 Help!
So, I hope there's no confusion. I don't hate the game. I think it's a very good game, but I didn't like it, because I didn't felt I was playing a Resident Evil game. How about you gamers? There is any game that everybody loves and you feel disappointed? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching the video and see you soon.